Welcome back. Over the past few days, we've been covering a lot of stuff, and I know it's a lot of information to take in, but I just want to acknowledge you right now for being committed, for being consistent, and for showing up to these videos and really digging in deep to the content, because if we can get clear on all of these different areas, we're really going to be able to put ourselves in the best position to succeed. So now we've talked about vision, the most important and powerful question anybody could ask us. Now, once we're clear on what it is that we want, we got to figure out exactly what's holding us back and why we don't have it already. And this is in the form of what are called limiting beliefs. What's a limiting belief? A limiting belief is like a thought or an idea that holds us back in some way. They can be about responsibilities or permissions or rights, etc., etc. And the ugly truth is that limiting beliefs are often about ourselves. Ask yourself, have you ever said, I do or I do not, I should or I shouldn't, I can't or I won't, I am or I am not? And then there's my favorite of all time, and that's, it is what it is, or that's just how the world works. Like, when I hear that stuff, it's like nails on a chalkboard. It just drives me crazy. Like, here's a couple good examples of it. All women are bad drivers, or all men will cheat. So if we know that we're creating these limiting beliefs about ourselves, then why do we do it? This is done in four main ways: out of experience, out of fear, out of excuse, and even bad advice. Number one, experience. I've tried exercising in the past, I've tried dieting in the past, I've even worked with a personal trainer or a coach, and nothing has worked. And number two, this is all about fear. See, we fear for a lot of different reasons. We fear failure, we fear looking bad, we fear getting started, and what's crazy about fear is that we even fear success. Yeah, a lot of people fear success because it's like, okay, once I have the body of my dreams, once I'm living my ideal lifestyle, will I be able to maintain it? And number three, this one is all about excuses, and my personal favorite, because we all know that we create stories and we give excuses on why we weren't able to do something, right? Like, we always want to point the finger at somebody or something else as the reason why we failed. And the fourth way that we limit ourselves is from bad advice. See, nowadays, everybody has their own opinion on how you should eat, how you should work out, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, and it's overwhelming. I get it, especially when we have all of this access to so much information. It's like, where do I even start? What do I believe? What do I avoid? Like, it's crazy. I get it. Story time. So when I was 13, my parents divorced, my dad moved out of the house, moved to another state. I felt unloved, I felt abandoned, I felt lost, and most of all, I felt unworthy. Because in my head, I'm thinking like, okay, I'm a young kid, and if my dad doesn't even think that I'm worth being around, I must really be worthless. And that was really hard for a kid at a young age, because it was at that time where I really needed a father, I really needed a role model and a mentor to help guide me through, one of the toughest transitions in anybody's life. And because of that, I was raised by my mom. And my mom did a great job, don't get me wrong, but I was bullied heavily. And because I was bullied off of the clothes that I wore and the shoes that I wore, I really developed fear at a young age, like paralyzing fear. Fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of success, and it really just magnified the lack of self-worth that I had. And so I went like the majority of my life with these limiting beliefs. And you know how, like, if you're target shooting and you're indoors and like there's that big alley and you're shooting at this paper target that's hanging on a line, and when you're done, the target comes to you and there's just like a bunch of holes riddled all over this figure. Like, that was my body, and every one of those holes was some belief that I had created about myself. So I'm curious, what limiting beliefs have you created that are really holding you back from having your ideal body, from living your ideal life? Have you decided to stop taking action because you've tried every diet in the book, you've done every exercise plan online, you've worked with every trainer in the world, but nothing has worked? Or do you fear getting started? Do you fear walking into a gym and looking bad in front of all those people who are prettier than you, who are fitter than you, who are skinnier than you? Here's the truth. There's two of you. There's the authentic you, and then there's the you that you've created. The authentic you is courageous, brave, powerful, loving, willing, capable of a successful, happy, vibrant, beautiful life. The inauthentic you is afraid, unworthy, unlovable, incapable. Does that make sense? See, in our minds, we've created this idea of what we can't be. But if you really want to have your ideal body and live in your ideal lifestyle, you're going to have to discover what it is that's holding you back, what beliefs that you've created about yourself that aren't allowing you to have the level of success that you deserve. Action steps. I want you to go find your happy place. Quiet, no distractions, happy place. And I want you to think from your childhood on till present day, every traumatic incident that's came up for you, whatever it may be, and what it left you feeling like. And then ask yourself, what have I created based off of those specific situations? And then write down every single belief that you've created about why you can't have your ideal body and live your ideal lifestyle. Sound good? Okay, I'm Dan Hoagland. I love you. I'll talk to you tomorrow.